Hello and welcome. I'm Pallavi Sharma and you're watching BIZWORLD Weekly, a show where we bring you the top stories of the week from economy to finance. We talk everything that mattered from across the world during this week. Let's start with the market check. Indian equity indices ended on a strong note with Nifty closing 1.29% higher at 25,112.4 points, while Sensex closed 1.29% up to at 82,408.17 points. BSE mid-cap and small-cap index also gained by 1.2% and 0.5% respectively. All sectoral indices ended in green with metal, PSU bank, realty, power, telecom and capital goods up 1 to 2% each. Jio Financial, M&M, Bharti Airtel, Bharat Electronics and Trent were the top gainers on Nifty, while Hero MotoCorp, Bajaj Auto, Maruti Suzuki and Dr. Reddy's were the top losers. Indian rupee closed 14 paise higher at 86.59 per dollar on June 20. Gold prices in India for 24 karat gold was at 10,048 rupees, while 22 karat gold was at 9,210 rupees. Wars are expensive. They cost money, and Israel has been in this situation for a long time now. First with Hamas in Gaza, then Hezbollah in Lebanon, with Houthis, and now with Iran. But does it have the money to sustain? Israel is spending close to $725 million daily for the war with Iran. This is as per a former Israeli defense officer. He says that the first 2 days of the conflict with Iran, Israel spent nearly $1.5 billion. This includes everything from warplanes to weapons. Now, this is just the cost to the military or the government directly. Indirectly, there has been more damage. Iran has hit infrastructure in Israel. Its stock exchange building has been hit. Businesses are affected. Reports say that roughly 60,000 businesses closed in Israel in 2024 due to manpower shortage, logistic disruption and more. As of last year, the Gaza conflict has cost Israel nearly $67.5 billion from everything from defense to displacement. This is 12% of Israel's economy. Last year, the budget deficit widened in Israel from 4% to 8%. Its deficit ceiling of 4.9% of the GDP is already straining its economy. Emergency funds have already nearly been exhausted in the Gaza war, which means its expenses are more and income is less. And so what it means is that it has to rely on more loans. It's piling loans and there is less money to pay back because spending is very high during wars. The longer the war goes on with Iran, the impact will be high on Israel's economy and its people will suffer too. As per reports, the war is dragging down civilian productivity and the Israeli tax authorities' compensation fund is disbursing money for the damage for civilian properties, which is again a huge cost to the government. The cost to the world is also higher. Oil prices are rising because the conflict in the Middle East means oil prices also are affected. Trade will also be impacted if Strait of Hormuz is blocked. If that happens, inflation will also rise. As per IMF, inflation in advanced economies rises about 0.4% points for every 10% increase in oil prices because it increases the transportation costs. But can this conflict last long? Experts say maybe not, and that's why markets have not seen a sharp fall. Israel is rapidly depleting its stock of Arrow missile interceptors. As per a senior US official, Israel's supply of advanced Arrow system is running low. The conflict has been on for 7 days already. Israel has hit Iran's nuclear sites. Iran has hit civilian sites in Israel too. It has fired 400 ballistic missiles on Israel, but Israel has intercepted most of these using multi-layered missile defense network. But this shield is also now showing signs of fatigue. As per reports, each Arrow interceptor alone costs around $3 million, and 90 missile defense operations cost up to $285 million. As per other reports, without American resupply or escalation, Israel may not have enough interceptors to last for 10 to 12 days, assuming Iran maintains the current pace of attack. Iran too is not in a very good position. It is staring at too many deaths and destruction of its forces. Its top commanders have been killed in Israeli attacks. Its crypto exchange has been reportedly hacked by Israeli hackers. The group of hackers claim to have robbed $90 million after hacking the Novitex exchange. This is one day after it claimed to have destroyed data of Iran's state-owned bank SEPA. Also, its oil exports have fallen dramatically. Reports say that Iranian crude and condensate oil exports are forecast to reach 102,000 barrels per day this weekend, which is less than half of the average exports per day this year. It is also facing energy and water shortage, and its currency, rial, has fallen 90% of its value since 2018 when sanctions were imposed on Iran. So this is the cost of war apart from lives it's claiming. As per reports, Israeli strikes on Iran has killed 639 people in Iran and has left thousands wounded. So the war is not good economically or for the mankind. We spoke about how much the war is costing Israel and that without America's intervention, Israel will not last more than 10 to 12 days in a war with Iran. Trump says he will take 2 weeks to decide if the US will join the war. Iran says if US attacks its land, it will break hell in the region. So now what exactly happens if America joins the war? Now there are two cases in this. Either US will only bomb the Fordo plant because Israel does not have the capacity to do it, only US can, then it will be more contained, the conflict. But the other scenario is that it attacks more wider regions in Iran. That might be bad. For context, Trump has warned Iran to de-escalate. He said that he knows where the supreme leader is hiding, but they are silent for now. However, Iran has taken cautionary steps. It has asked its citizens to stop using WhatsApp or delete the app, and other steps too have been taken. But why is America going to help Israel? One, because it is an ally. Two, because the goal is similar. US does not want Iran to have nuclear weapons. So does Saudi Arabia, Europe, UK, Australia, France, Italy, and more. Basically, the West and its allies are in support of Israel. Meanwhile, Iran's allies include Russia, China, Pakistan, and more. For more background, reports say that Iran is months away from enriching uranium to weapons grade, which means creating a nuclear bomb. And that's why Israel says it struck Iran's nuclear facilities first. Now coming back to what if US joins the war? Well, first things, it will be an escalation, a major one, because still now US has maintained that it has not been in any way involved in the conflict. Let's talk about the cons first. The conflict will escalate, more people will lose their lives, oil prices will be hit, they will hit the roof around $100 per barrel as per reports, inflation will rise, growth will slow, and if Strait of Hormuz and Red Sea are blocked, then the trade will be hit, disrupting supply chains and increasing costs of imported goods across the world, because freight costs will increase both in sea and air because airspace will be remained closed. Now coming to economists, they are warning that it will be a big fall in stock market if US joins the war. Now the positives. There are two positives if you are an investor. Then the defense stocks in your portfolio will spike. Already defense stocks across the world have been spiking. Indian stocks like Paras Defense, Mazgaon Dock, BDL rose up to 4% on June 18. Lockheed Martin, American defense stocks surged too and has been surging since the conflict. Why? Because war means supply of American defense systems increase. Israel successfully attacked Iran's nuclear infrastructure, highlighting the role of American defense contractors in global conflicts. And Lockheed Martin is Pentagon's largest missile supplier. And if America enters the war, it will only spike further. Next was gold. In times of global uncertainties, gold prices spike the most and investors turn to safe haven. Goldman Sachs had forecasted that gold could hit $3,700 per ounce by the year end, with potential spikes up to $4,500 if global risks like recession or a renewed trade tension are seen. Now, the last question is, will global allies of Iran and Israel to get involved directly? Well, as of now, they don't want any escalation of this conflict by providing support to Iran or Israel. Even US has not directly supported Israel in military yet. Do you think the US will enter the war? If yes, let us know what do you think the situation will be like in the comments. Israel struck Iran on June 13, hitting its nuclear sites. And with war comes social media theories. Who knew about the war beforehand? From videos of astrologers to cartoons predicting such conflicts, these have surfaced online, but one bizarre theory has caught everyone's eye. Pizza deliveries. It says spike in pizza deliveries in outlets near Pentagon can predict a major conflict. It is called the Pentagon Pizza Index. But what is it and is it legit? Here's a report.
A bizarre theory is going viral on social media. It has to do with wars and pizzas. Yes, the connection is bizarre and so is the theory, but it makes sense to some. The theory shows how surge in Pentagon's pizza orders signal an upcoming war. It might sound weird, but this theory has been around for a long time now. While the Pentagon has dismissed claims saying that they don't need to order pizza as many pizza options are available inside the Pentagon, and they also have sushi, sandwiches, donuts, and more. But did the Pizza Index predict Israel's attack on Iran? The Pizza Index, or the Pentagon Pizza Meter, tracks pizza deliveries or takeout from outlets like District Pizza Palace, Domino's, Extreme Pizza, and more. The theory says when there are tensions or the war room heats up, phones don't stop ringing, staff doesn't leave the desk, and so Pentagon officials need fast deliveries and convenient food options, and pizza is a great option. As per an X account named Pentagon Pizza Report, almost an hour before Iran reported explosions in Tehran, pizza orders around the Pentagon shot through the roof. Pizza outlets near the Pentagon saw a huge surge in activity. Another post claimed that District Pizza Palace, just minutes before closing, had experienced a huge surge in traffic. Domino's allegedly reported above average levels of traffic on June 13th. Now this is an unofficial theory, and critics laugh off it, calling it a major coincidence. This is not new. Reports suggest it dates back to the Cold War era when Soviet operatives noticed pizza delivery activity in Washington and noted back to their bosses in Moscow if America was preparing something big. Reports say on August 1, 1990, a Domino's franchise in Washington reported a massive surge in pizza deliveries to CIA buildings, and on the next day, Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaded Kuwait. The similar pattern was reportedly noticed ahead of Operation Desert Storm in 1991. So the question is this theory actually legit? Well, we'll never know.
The US Federal Reserve announced its decision this week on the monetary policy. The Federal Open Market Committee held its meeting this week and the decision was announced on June 18th. Now, it has kept the interest rates unchanged, holding steady at 4.25% to 4.5%. It is the same level since December 2024. So there is no change in cost of borrowing for the people of America. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said that the committee wants to learn more about the likely course of the economy before considering any adjustments to the policy stance. He says that there is an elevated uncertainty uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting the trade policy concerns. Its stance is still cautious. The May Consumer Price Index rose just 0.1%, bringing year-over-year inflation to 2.4%, still above Fed's target, but this is a sign that the prices are easing. The Middle East tensions, though, means the energy costs are rising, which the Fed is monitoring closely. The markets are also taking a note. 10-year Treasury yield dipped below 4.4% this week, signaling investor caution. The Fed is aiming for maximum employment and stable inflation. Fed's median forecast for GDP growth stands at 1.4% this year and 1.6% for the next. The US economy grew 2.5% in the previous year, but the GDP dipped slightly in Q1 due to increased imports ahead of tariff implementation. The FOMC has indicated that 2 rate cuts are on the table by the end of 2025. But Trump is not happy with this decision. He has been urging Fed to cut interest rates for a long time now. There was also a speculation that he would fire the Fed chairman after calling him names earlier. Now he has again said that Powell was stupid for not cutting interest rates for so long and has suggested that he would like to appoint himself to the Fed. He said that ahead of FOMC outcome, he said he knows Powell will not cut rates and we have a stupid person at the Fed.
The only thing too late is Powell. Powell's too late. Too late, Powell.
So looks like after cutting so many jobs in the government, Trump is now wanting to take over the jobs of others, even other positions like Pope, when he earlier humorously suggested that he wants to be the next Pope. But why does Trump want interest rates to come down? Experts say that Trump believes that lower interest rates would help economy and they could counteract any potential negative effect from the trade war. But Trump's actions have only led to Fed not cutting interest rates, as his tariffs could lead to higher inflation, as it would raise costs for businesses on components bought from foreign suppliers, and the customers would bear the cost too. Economists are warning slow growth. Inflation risks are on the plate for the US due to Trump's trade war. Businesses are affected. The world is worried. But guess who is making money? Donald Trump and his family. Trump's annual report for the year 2024 shows how much he earned, and there is a lot of it, from crypto to sneakers to NFTs. He has earned money from multiple fronts. Our next report tells you more.
U.S. President Donald Trump's income was disclosed last week. The document revealed how much he earned through his cryptocurrency ventures, golf clubs, licensing, and other ventures in 2024. The annual financial disclosure form shows that Trump's push for crypto has substantially added to his wealth, but also reported large fees from developments and revenues from his other businesses. Trump has put his businesses in a trust that is managed by his children, but this new form has now revealed some shocking details. Trump reported more than $600 million in income from crypto, golf clubs, licensing, and other ventures in a public financial disclosure report. Overall, he reported assets worth at least $1.6 billion. The financial disclosure, however, does not state the time period it covered. The other information in the disclosure suggests that it was through the end of December 2024, which would exclude most of the money raised by the family's crypto venture. In the disclosure, Trump has reported $57.37 million from token sales in World Liberty and holding 15.75 billion governance tokens in this venture. As per reports, the Trump meme coin released earlier this year alone had earned an estimated $320 million in fees. However, it's not yet disclosed how much amount has been divided between the Trump-controlled entity and its partners. In addition to this, the family has raked in more than $400 million from World Liberty Financial. A large part of the income, on paper, is tied up in his stake in Trump Media and Technology,
Besides assets and revenues from businesses, Trump reported at least $12 million income from passive investments, totaling at least $211 million. His biggest investments were alternative fund manager Blue Owl Capital and in government bonds managed by Charles Schwab and Invesco. A disclosure showed income from various assets, including Trump's properties in Florida. He has 3 golf-focused resorts in the state, plus his nearby private members club at Mar-a-Lago, generated at least $217.7 million in income, as per the filing. The expansive Miami area golf hub, Trump National Doral, was the family's single largest income source, at $114.4 million. The income figures, though, were not net profits after subtracting costs but revenues. The disclosure also showed income of $5 million in license fees from a development in Vietnam, $10 million in development fees from a project in India, and almost $16 million in licensing fees for a Dubai project. He also collected royalty money from various deals, like $1.3 million from Greenwood Bible, $2.8 million from Trump watches, and $2.5 million from Trump sneakers and fragrances. He listed $1.16 million in income from his NFTs. Meanwhile, the First Lady Melania Trump earned around $216,700 from license fees on her own NFT collection.
This week, the world leaders met in Canada for the G7 summit. G7 is an informal group of the world's most advanced economies, once used to be the world's biggest economies. It is a group of 7 countries: France, UK, US, Germany, Japan, Italy, Canada, and the European Union. Every year, the members meet to discuss global economic and geopolitical issues. This was a crucial time, though. The world is witnessing 2 wars, one in the Middle East and the other one between Russia and Ukraine. Trade disruptions are also going on, and slowing world growth is also a problem. The countries were supposed to sign deals with the US president, but only UK could bag one. The US president had to leave midway due to Israel and Iran's conflict, which intensified, and the US had declared that Tehran had to be evacuated immediately. India was also invited to attend the summit in Canada, and this was a landmark meet because the relations between India and Canada have been deteriorating. PM Modi had reached the location, Canada, on June 16. He was also supposed to be holding a bilateral meeting with President Donald Trump. But since he had left earlier in the summit, they got on a 35-minute call. PM Modi reiterated India's stance on terrorism and also emphasized that any third-party mediation between India and Pakistan is not required, and that the conflict paused because both parties spoke with one another to halt the conflict. Now, to the G7 leaders too, he had said that global action against terrorism was needed. He also pointed out a double standard in international action, saying, and I quote, "On one hand, we are quick at imposing all kinds of sanctions based on our preferences. On the other hand, countries that openly support terrorism are awarded." PM Modi also held meetings with other leaders, including the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. During the conversation, Mark Carney said that relations between the 2 countries were extremely important. Post talks, India and Canada agreed to designate new high commissioners with a view to return to regular services to citizens and businesses in both countries, India and Canada. This comes despite the ongoing protests in Canada by Khalistani groups against Prime Minister Modi's visit. He also met with the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz to discuss ways to strengthen bilateral cooperation in trade, investment, defense, green energy, and technology. He also held a meeting with the leaders from Japan and South Korea. Overall, the G7 summit was not much of a success because of Trump's abrupt exit. On the Israel-Iran war, the group of 7 had issued a joint statement. It had said that while Israel has has the right to defend itself, Iran must not obtain nuclear weapons. They urge that the two countries should de-escalate. On tariffs, they urged Trump to back away, arguing that it poses a risk to global economic stability. In the Russia-Ukraine war, UK had announced fresh sanctions on Russia. The country said that it wants to work with the G7 partners to squeeze Russia's energy revenues and reduce the funds to be able to stop the war. Ukraine also got a $1.47 billion military support from Canada. The G7 promised support to Ukraine, but Zelensky failed to get a joint statement from the 7 countries in his support. The G7 leaders also signed 6 joint statements on critical minerals, wildfires, artificial intelligence, and more. The next year's summit will be held in France. It will be hosted by the French. US President Donald Trump attended the G7 summit, and where there is Trump, there is controversy. While the G7 leaders showed support to Ukraine in the war with Russia, Trump suggested something that could bring a reaction like this on all faces of the G7 leaders. While posing for a picture, he suggested that the G7 could get back to becoming G8 and said Russia could also be a part of this member.
The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago.
Since 2022, the G7 leaders have been united on Russia-Ukraine war issue and has imposed sanctions on Russia collectively. This year too, UK announced imposing fresh sanctions on Russia to squeeze its revenue from oil. But now Trump is the president of the US. He wants Russia and China to join the G7. He said it was a mistake to remove Russia from the group. He also added that the war would not have happened if Russia was a part of this group, and added that it was important for world leaders to speak to each other and that the Russian president speaks only to him, because Trump says he was very insulted when he was thrown out of the G8 by Obama and Trudeau. Russia agrees to this. Trump also said that it was not a bad idea if China was also a part of G7. For context, there was a time when Russia was a member of the G8. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine and it was removed from the group. At first, it was the G6. It had US, UK, Japan, Germany, France, and Italy. Then in 1976, Canada joined. And then in 1998, Russia was a part of this group too. It was a group of the top economies of the world that had a lot of financial power then. Now in 2025, it only makes up to 29% of the global GDP. So times have changed. It also was united politically. Now there are differences between the G6 and Trump. His stance on many issues are different, and frankly, other nations have openly showed it. For instance, French President Macron said to reporters at the G7 that Trump was leaving early to negotiate a possible ceasefire between Israel and Iran. He said that US assured that they will find a ceasefire, and since they can pressure Israel, things might change. Trump dismissed this, but in his own way. He called Macron a publicity-seeking person. He said that he has no idea why Trump was leaving early and that Emmanuel always gets it wrong. So the relations are deteriorating and people are saying it is the G6 versus Trump. How to get a job that pays you crazy salaries? Well, the job market is bad, especially in tech. Layoffs are all over the place. People are saying AI will take your job, but not if you are an AI researcher. It might give you one. And if you're lucky, you might get $100 million joining bonus. All you need to do is study hard and bag that top job at a top firm and wait for Meta to poach you. Easier said than done, but $100 million bonus? Well, that's the AI race for you, and this is between OpenAI and Meta. Mark Zuckerberg could not crack the code for the top generative AI firm as of now, but he's going for the future ahead. He is going for artificial super intelligence, and he is super serious about it. He has even created a team dedicated for it. But is he poaching OpenAI researchers to join his team? This is what Sam Altman has claimed. Here's a report.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has claimed that Meta offered $100 million bonuses to OpenAI employees in an unsuccessful bid to poach talent and strengthen its own generative AI teams. He said they also offered giant annual salaries along with this signing bonus to the OpenAI staffers. Meta has not confirmed this claim and will mostly not, because poaching and salaries are often a confidential affair. In January, Mark Zuckerberg said that Meta plans to invest at least $60 billion in AI this year, with ambitions to lead in technology. Last week, Meta entered into a deal with Scale AI, which is believed to be worth $15 billion. Reports say that it also offered 9-figure annual salaries to Scale AI executives. Well, the AI race has just started, so this is a field where top talent will be fought for, and the pay is high, not only in Meta. OpenAI has some of the world's biggest pay packages for researchers. Reports say they receive bonuses of $1 million and salaries of up to $10 million. Google offers its top researchers $20 million in salaries, but it's not rosy if you are a junior AI engineer, as per some reports. And if you are good at management and climb up the stairs to become a CEO, then it's a party in your pocket. For instance, Starbucks CEO Brian Niccol earns around $95.8 million in salaries. Coherent's CEO Jim Anderson earns $101.5 million approximately in annual salaries. Well, it's a lot of work to get there, but other top-paying jobs include AI researcher, investment bankers, surgeons, mostly neurosurgeons, data scientists, and more. So if you are chasing money, you have to plan your career, choose the right field, and wait for some big tech to poach you with astonishing bonuses. All it requires is that you pick the right job and be the best in your field.
Elon Musk's Starlink has received a license to operate in India by the government. The Indian government has given the license to Starlink this week. India, as you know, is a price-sensitive market, and if the device is affordable, it might actually be a game changer. You see, satellite internet services reach places where cable wires can't. So in remote areas, it might actually work wonders. But is it affordable? Our next report tells you.
Elon Musk is expanding business in India. India has granted a license to Starlink, Musk's satellite internet service, to operate in India. This license allows it to offer satellite internet services in the country. Now, with this approval, Starlink can start its service in India. It is a key market for Starlink because it has the largest population in the world, and that means more market. India also gains from this because this means better digital access for people in remote areas. But the big question was pricing. Will Starlink be able to flourish in this price-sensitive market? The price structure is out. Reports suggest that the setting cost of the required Starlink dish device will be approximately 33,000 rupees. The monthly unlimited data plan is expected to be priced at 3,000 rupees. It is also planning to offer a complimentary 1-month trial plan for each device purchase, as per reports, so customers can test the service before committing to the regular plan. These prices align with the prices in neighboring countries, like in Bangladesh too. The setting cost is 33,000 rupees for the device, and for Bhutan as well, the cost of equipment is same. Earlier, some rumors suggested that Starlink might introduce a low-cost plan starting at 840 rupees per month as a part of a promotional offer, but it is still unclear whether this rate will be available across India or only in selected areas. Telecom giants Jio and Airtel have struck separate deals with Starlink to position as key distributors for Starlink equipment and services in India. Now, Starlink wants to start its service within the next 12 months in India. But this price is significantly higher than the average broadband revenue per user in India, which is around 400 to 600 rupees. While it aims to offer unlimited data and higher speeds, the question is, will people buy it? Because the target will be areas with limited or no broadband infrastructure, which will mostly be the rural or remote areas where people might not be able to afford this device. So the pricing is a barrier. Starlink operates by using a constellation of thousands of small, low Earth orbit satellites to provide internet access. These allow for faster speeds and lower latency because they are closer to the Earth. So this means faster internet in areas where cables or phone lines can't reach. Internet penetration in India remains at approximately 47%, leaving 700 million people without stable internet access. But to change this via Starlink, the prices need to come down because with this cost, it will be a luxury, and in places where it's actually needed, people won't be able to afford it.
In the last few episodes of the show, we have told you about the growing relations of US and Pakistan, be it from Trump's businesses to the president openly saying that he loves Pakistan. This time it has gone to a whole new level. After being on a call with PM Modi for 35 minutes, where the two leaders spoke about terrorism and how they're against it, Trump has invited Pakistan's Bunker Munir to the White House for lunch. What did they talk about though? Well, it was confidential, unlike his controversial Oval Office meetings with other leaders in front of reporters. This one was a closed meeting. Now, this is a proof of what Prime Minister Modi said in G7 about double standards on terrorism. He said, and I quote, "On one hand, we are quick to impose sanctions on nations as we like, and on the other hand, we reward countries that support terrorism." But what did the two countries talk about, US and Pakistan, Trump and Munir? Well, the White House has disclosed some details. The meeting went on for 2 hours and was attended by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Pakistan's NSA and Inter-Services Intelligence Chief, US Special Representative Steve Witkoff, and reports say that Trump privately pressured Munir for airspace access and intelligence on Tehran, leveraging Pakistan's back-channel role as the host of Iran's interest section for the US. In return, he offered advanced weaponry and economic incentives to Pakistan, luring it to move away from China's orbit and the BRICS alliance. Trump is pushing to expand trade in critical minerals, cryptocurrency, AI, and energy as a part of a broader strategy to anchor Pakistan within US-led markets. While Modi clearly denied any third-party mediation in the conflict between India and Pakistan, Trump is not ready to believe that it was not because of his negotiation. He again claimed credit for diffusing the crisis between India and Pakistan. He praised Munir for playing a key role in brokering the ceasefire. Now, this is not a good sign because while Pakistan has financial challenges as of now, and with this meeting, Munir is believed to have sought US military and financial assistance from the US to modernize Pakistan's armed forces and stabilize its economy with trade deals with the US. This could significantly alter the military balance with India. Now, this meeting is a call for India to counter a US strategy as the two countries cozy up, having Iran as an excuse. Trump is making deals with Pakistan to lower China's influence in the region, but at India's expense. The question is, what is India's plan now? But why did the two meet? Why did Trump invite Munir for lunch? Well, earlier, Munir had said that Trump should get a Nobel Peace Prize. And that's what he wants, probably. So he invited Munir to thank him for lunch at the White House.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.